IELTS with Matt, making you sound more natural, confident and professional in your studies and at work. And today we're going to be looking at some predicted speaking questions for 2023, and these questions will be used from March until August 2023. A lot of students worry about their grammar and their vocabulary, and they think that it's not quite good enough and they need to learn lots more, but don't worry about that so much, because the most important thing is strategy. Today we'll look at a part 2 question that's being used until August 2023, and we'll look at my example Band 9 answer and some strategies that you could apply to this question and also other part 2 questions. So this is the part 2 of the speaking, which is the long answer. You need to speak for 1 to 2 minutes, and you usually have 1 minute to prepare for this. So this is the cue card. I'd like you to talk about a first day at a new school. You'll need to talk about where it was, how old you were, what you did, and explain how you felt about the day. You have 1 minute to prepare. You can now start speaking now. That's for me. Okay, so my first ever day of school was quite a while ago. I must have been about 5 years old, and it was at a little primary school in a small town. To be perfectly honest, I don't remember a lot about it, but I'd guess that I was more than a little shy as I walked in and looked around at all the other kids. But my teacher, Mrs. Binns, was so kind and welcoming, and she helped me feel at ease right away. I suppose one of my favourite memories from that first day was when we got to have snack time and I got to eat the Monster Munch crisps that I had brought from home. I remember being ridiculously excited to share them with my new friends because they were in the shape of huge monster feet, or at least it seemed like they were huge. And the game we made up was trying to fit a whole one in our mouths and to keep it there for as long as possible. All in all, my first day of school was probably a success, as I don't remember anything terrible happening. I guess I was a little bit nervous at first, but soon realised that there was nothing to be afraid of and that school was probably going to be a pretty fun place to be. So that's my example answer, and you can see some of these yellow phrases here are some examples of natural sounding language. So for some of these you might not be able to use them in your writing, but definitely use them in your speaking. For example, quite a while ago means a long time ago, quite a while ago. And to be perfectly honest, so usually if we make an admission or something that's maybe not so good. So for example, my one was, I don't remember a lot about it. So to be perfectly honest, I don't remember a lot about it. Or to be perfectly honest, I don't really like art galleries very much. To be perfectly honest, I don't know many classical composers. I'd guess that, so I would guess, I'd guess that. It's a nice way to say I think. We had Arti Sharma say, wow, very useful. Actually, last month this cue card came up in my test. We need more cue card ideas like this. Pooja Chowdhury says, thank you for this cue card, smiley face. And Harman Gill says, thank you for this wonderful video, thumbs up. Thank you very much for your comments, and yeah, please let us know when your exam is and what band score you need. I suppose just means the same as I think. Ridiculously excited is like saying I'm very, very excited. I was ridiculously excited. All in all, another way to say overall or in conclusion. We don't say that in speaking, but all in all sounds much more natural. And one of my favourite phrases, which is very simple, is I guess, which just means I think, I guess. I want to help the most people possible, so you can also help too by sharing this. Let's look at some of the blues, which are vocabulary collocations. So A lot of people in speaking think that they need to use very complicated vocabulary, but actually simple words that go together naturally are much, much better. And words that go together naturally are called vocabulary collocations. They're just things that you see together very often. So first ever day. You could have a first day, but a first ever day is like to emphasize that it was the first one. Quite a while ago, a long time ago. You can say a long time ago, but quite a while ago, it just sounds like it rolls off the tongue nicely. More than a little shy. Okay, here we've got the word shy, which is an adjective. If you're saying you're quite a lot shy, you can say, oh, I was more than a little. It means a lot. More than a little shy. Or if I was very embarrassed, I would say, oh, I was more than a little embarrassed. Or if I was very angry, I might say, I was more than a little angry about it. You can look, but to look around sounds much more natural. They're very simple words that go together. Feel at ease means to feel relaxed. You're not very angry, you're not tense, you feel at ease. One of my favourite memories, ridiculously excited, we explained before. It seemed like, to seem like something, it means it was similar to, or it reminded me of something. So my memory was that these crisps were very big, but it seemed like they were huge. Maybe they weren't, but to me it felt like they were huge. It seemed like they were huge. And as possible, it's a phrase that goes together nicely for as long as possible or as much as possible. I like to go on holiday for as long as possible, the longest time that I can. A little bit nervous and soon realised. Nothing to be afraid of, and pretty fun. Not just fun, it's quite fun, or more than a little fun. It's a pretty fun. It's quite a fun place. Pretty fun. I would like to ask you for a huge favour and to share this video with somebody else or a Facebook group or somebody that you know who might be able to improve their speaking because of this video too. As a bonus today, let's look at how you could train your speaking. So if I was taking the IELTS test, I would train my brain in this way. So you need to look at building the connections in your neurons. So when you have a new phrase or new word or new grammar structure, you create a connection, but it's very weak. You have to think very hard to try to use it, but to make it come quicker, you need to make it stronger. And you can make it stronger by using language actively. So let's look at how you can do that here. To train your active speaking, you can focus on one thing at a time, and to make it strong, like one piece of vocabulary or one structure. Write out some example sentences using that structure, and then try to use that structure or vocabulary collocation in 5 or more different questions. So you're creating connections using this vocabulary or grammar in lots of different topics, in lots of different ways. And you're not just reading it, you're actively trying to make this happen in your brain. For example, as possible. These are my example sentences that I wrote out. I like to go on holiday for as long as possible. I suppose, it's best. I suppose it's best to limit the time you spend on your phone as much as possible. And I guess I try to see friends as much as possible, but sometimes it's hard. Then I would try and find some speaking questions to try to use this structure in. And you can find some example questions on my blog on ieltswithmatt.substack.com, or you could use an app. An app I like to use is IELTS Speaking Assistant. So look that one up, and there are some example IELTS questions there. Now, you've learnt some structures that can help improve your speaking score, but remember, there are 4 different strands for how you are assessed in IELTS, and to learn more of those structures that are really going to push you up higher, you're going to need to watch this next video up here.